special schools.
This programme looks at how visually impaired pupils can build confidence, achieve their ambitions and develop the necessary skills to enjoy a full, independent life.
Slot your feet into the holes there, okay? For blind children, it's important that they have some point of reference so that they know when their feet are in position, their hand is at the right place. So we have some foot plates and we've also got a tactile sight. They have to build up trust so that they know that you are going to keep them safe. Just take your time. When you're ready, lift your bow arm up. Nice and easy. Sometimes my tone of voice hasn't been the correct tone. I've startled them. It just hasn't sounded right to them. And they will also pick up your moods as well. And release. Good. If you don't talk enough, it makes them feel very insecure. So it's getting it just right. Good. That's one of the things I have to work on, you know, how to use the voice. Yep. Okay, that's centre target. Now I want you to slide it out. You've got 1, 2, and 1 just below it. Okay? Yeah. So you've got them around 4 o'clock on the clock face.
Yeah.
Just to the right of centre. I don't have all the answers. I'm learning all the time. And that's one of the joys of the job. It just gives them an added dimension to their life. I mean, it gives them independence, sense of achievement, self-esteem, sense of self-worth.
When I started archery, it was very, very hard.
Archery has meant a lot to me because it means that I have an extra leisure hobby that I can continue outside of school.
Get the right technique. It's quite easy after that. I've
entered 2 competitions and I've retained a cup in the last 2 years outside of school.
The Paralympics, who knows?
I won't put the apron on just yet.
No. Auction House aims to encourage children in their aspirations. And there are visually impaired staff who can act as role models.
Part, okay? So, should we start from the top then?
Yeah.
Okay. When I was about 16, 17, I lost my eyesight. And I went to the college down the way from here, so it's connected to Dorton, where I did my A-levels, etc., and then went to live in Spain for a couple of years to learn the language. And then since then I came back to work here using my languages and working with the staff and the children. Also doing counselling as well.
I'll say, hola, buenos días.
Hola, buenos días.
Yeah, Grace. Hola, buenos días.
Eleanor.
Hola, buenos días.
¿Qué desea?
Can we do that already?
Any of the main courses, yeah?
Oh, Vicky.
You can do your pudding after. Works pretty well within the school. Means I have a bigger empathy with the children.
Can you see
We can work together using Braille, large print. We use a CCTV, which will enlarge the print if they need to read it onto a TV.
Chocolate, por favor.
We use computers which have speech on or Zoom text, so an enlargement program. And you'll add up how much it is and you'll ask for it, okay? Other than that, the only sort of adaptations we make is that we do it more focused on the speech and the pronunciation and on the speaking and the listening, rather than maybe so much reading and writing.
Hola, buenos días.
Hola, buenos días.
¿Qué desea?
Sí. Paella. Por favor, gracias.
Para beber.
Zumo de fruta, por favor, gracias.
Quiere postres, por favor.
Helado de chocolate, por favor.
What we try and do is have something visual or tactile for them to work with. So we focus a lot on role plays and things where they can actually get up and move around rather than just sitting still and learning a list of words, which can be a bit tiring. Add them up, tell me in Spanish.
10, 11, 12.
We have plates and cups and things so that they can move them around and it makes it a bit more realistic for them.
Por favor.
Gracias.
Adios.
Adios.
I started school here when I was 4 years old. It was 1987. Best teachers were your friends, and that's why I think I did so well at the school, because they were just so friendly. There's only sort of 8 people to a class. You just felt like you knew everyone straight away. It was just a really nice atmosphere. I would have rather gone to a special school than a mainstream school because I got good qualifications and better job prospects at the end of the day. And I left school when I was 16 and then I went straight down to Dalton College and I was there for 4 years. And now I'm back working here and I've been working at Dalton now for 2 years as a receptionist.
We believe in these children and know that a lot of them are very, very capable. The reality is that 75% of blind and partially sighted adults have never worked. So therefore, we have an emphasis on supporting blind and partially sighted young people into employment.
Because of security, you've got a keypad, which because of my sight, I can't actually remember the numbers. I remember it as a symbol. This is the reception.
There are limits on the things that they can do because of lack of vision, but that does not hinder us in terms of wanting the very, very best for them.
My job entails taking bookings, answering calls. I do a lot of typing sometimes, following up extension numbers. It's quite versatile, really.
It doesn't matter how many O-levels and A-levels our children leave the school with. If they are unable to achieve independent travel, they will never really achieve their full potential. You know, one can get taxis to work, one, you know, can sort of obtain sighted assistance, but realistically it is the independent traveller who will ultimately achieve more.
Dear Jay, it gives me a great pleasure to write you this letter.
The partnership between Dalton House and Sierra Leone's Milton Margai School impacts on all areas of the curriculum and is embedded in their schemes of work.
We started off by looking at humanities, music and art. And in humanities, we specifically looked at conflict resolution and were able to devise a scheme of work which was relevant to both schools. We started off in a very simple way with quarrels in the playground. And of course this expanded to the terrible conflict that had happened in Sierra Leone in the late 90s. The main causes of visual impairment tend to be measles, river blindness, and there are children there who have lost their sight following the atrocities of the Troubles. They've had the advantage of sight, even if only for 2 or 3 years, and that makes a huge difference to them, how they perceive the world and how they move in space. Whereas many of our children here have been blind from birth. The music world was an obvious way to go because the Milton Margai School for the Blind has a choir. So last year we were sharing songs, and when the children came over they performed together. It's been absolutely invaluable what the children have learnt from each other. We do want to be able to perhaps look at maths, to consider how we can link in science and also in skills for independent living. With the art situation, it's not quite an equal exchange of ideas because they have no art and craft taught in the Milton Margai School at all at the moment. It's vital that visually impaired children strengthen their hands, that they develop their fine motor skills as young as possible, because these are going to be absolutely invaluable to them in terms of braille reading and writing, and actually making sense of the world around them, which they do to a very large extent through their hands.
I decided my mom's going to put this plate on it, and I put this plate upstairs and like made the nose bigger.
Our children have been working here on tactile pieces of work that they are going to take out with them as examples of what we do here. But the object is to be able to help them develop their art and craft using local materials.
What's the map for? Where's it going?
It's going to go to the Sierra Leone school.
And we're going to help them to create a piece that can be brought back and hung in our school. So this, in a sense, is the beginning of what we hope will be something far greater, and that eventually they will have art and craft clearly established on the curriculum. But in our art curriculum, we shall also be incorporating some of what our art teacher will have learnt on the visit out there.
This time next week, we will probably be boarding, won't we?
Yeah. Before Kyle, Nick and Leanne depart for Sierra Leone to visit their friends at Milton Margai, there is a last-minute meeting to finalise their plans and make sure everyone knows what to expect.
Leave, aren't we? So there are one or two things we need to sort out before we go. We still haven't thought about what we might take for all the children. So I have dutifully brought in my evening primrose. Kyle, you must have remembered doing this with us. Yeah. When you were little, because it's a good pre-braille skill, getting their fingers nice and strong, and the children there haven't got anything. Kyle, who I taught when he was 2.5, the most shy, timid, totally blind child, very, very unforthcoming. Now he could talk the hind leg off a donkey. Do you know anything about malaria?
I know how it starts and how the tablets stop it.
He's an able boy academically, but he's also a delightfully interesting young man. So you're going to be Dr. Kyle. He knows that he wants to work in radio, for example. He knows he wants to be a DJ. He's very, very clear about that, and I would be surprised if he didn't get there. Nick came to us just before the end of Key Stage 2. Absolutely delightful young man who, in a sense, is thriving in being in this much smaller community where he's noticed, where his gifts are noticed, where his talents are noticed, and you know, he's had some personal challenges, but nevertheless he's becoming a very rounded, mature young man, and again a very, very capable one.
Red carpet coming down the steps.
We've had children who have been very shy and reticent to start with and really not wanting to be involved, and yet they've done it. Is it the same thing that Nick's been making?
It's as big as that note in. It's as big as that map out there.
Well, Leanne is slightly younger. She's a Year 9 pupil. She has not been with us that long, and she's one of those young people who perhaps found it quite difficult to settle in her mainstream school.
You said last week we could bring tea bags or whatever.
Yes. She's extraordinarily friendly. She's actually a very, very able sportswoman. She has adopted parents, and she was talking about her natural father, who apparently came from Sierra Leone. So she very much wanted to go to the country, and she was very open about it as well, and said, I want to go while I've still got some vision and see what it's like.
Will it be, you know, quite easy to get milk out there?
When the children from the Milton Margai School came over here, some of our children found them a little overwhelming. They're very, very touchy-feely. Some of our children found that just a little bit out of what their normal experience. Not Leanne. She was there with them, great friends the whole time. So she will thoroughly enjoy it, and the rest of us will enjoy having her there. I'm going to go up to the RNIB probably on Tuesday and get the maths equipment, the tactile rulers.
There's still huge similarities that the children themselves discovered through writing letters. There's the interest in music, the interest in teenage angst problems, you know, whether we're going to find a boyfriend or a girlfriend and all the rest of it. My best music are Tumba dance, and I think that's been one of the major advantages of the link. What are your hobbies? What is your school song? That despite the differences, they're children, young people, and they've all got the same hopes, wants and dreams. Our school song is We Cannot See, But We Will Conquer. Hajar is 15 years old. Yours, Heart to Heart, Sinakara.
Ibrahim, that's Carl's
my pen friend.
You remember Ibrahim?
Do you know, we're so alike, it's scary.
In what ways?
Well, we just get on so well. You know, just... We were always finding stuff to talk about. There was never any silence. There was always stuff to be asked, always stuff to talk about.
The end.